So read it with me. John 15:12. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. John is in the New Testament. We call John 15:12 the address. Can you say the address? The address. And that's where the verse lives in the Bible. Without an address, sometimes you might hear the word reference. Without those, we would not know where to look in the Bible. So those are very important when you see those in verses. And you should always learn that part. Because if you're trying to tell somebody about the verse, you want to know where to find it, okay? Okay, so our verse is John 15:12. This we call the address, and then up here is the verse. So this is my commandment. What is a commandment? Does anybody know what a commandment is? What is a commandment? Oh, come on, I know you've heard that word. Claire, what's a commandment? Like an order or something that you must obey and do. And to obey means to do what you are told. And so Jesus is saying to us, this is my commandment to you, so you should listen to me and do what I'm saying. That you love one another. You're supposed to love other people even when it's really hard or you don't think they deserve to be loved.
That's the hard time.
Yeah, maybe they've hurt you. Maybe they've hurt someone else that you care about.
Like Jonah.
Yes, like Jonah and the Ninevites. Yes, he did not want to tell those people. But Jesus tells us that I have loved you. And so you should love other people because I showed my love for you by dying for you. Now, Jesus doesn't expect us to die for somebody else. He did that for them. But we're supposed to show our love to them by how we treat them, what we say to them, the way we act around them. And it's a commandment. We are supposed to do that.
He loved everybody.
Yes, he did. The Bible says that. For God so loved the world. He died for everyone. He died for you, so you should love others like he loved you, even when it's hard. Yes, Claire? Yes, I just forgot to put it on there. Those little quotation marks, that means someone is saying it. Yes, I did forget to put them there. I just saw that. They should be right there. We'll pretend. So stand up and let's read it together. Ready? I want you to say the bottom part 2 times so that it gets glued in your head. Ready? John 15:12. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. John 15:12. Very good. All right, sit down. If you are wearing the color black, stand up. If you have black on you anywhere, maybe it could be the logo on your clothes, your shoes, anywhere, and you just focus on yourself, okay? Ready? If you're standing, say the verse. John 15:12. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. John 15:12. Ready? Sit down. If you had breakfast this morning, stand up. If you had breakfast. Not everyone eats breakfast. I can go without breakfast some days. Ready? John 15:12. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. John 15:12. Have a seat. If you have a pet at your house, stand up. A pet. When I count to 3, yell out what kind of pet you have. 1, 2, 3.
Dog!
Ooh, dog, cat.
Dog and fish.
Oh, fish. Okay.
Black Labrador.
That yelled what?
I think I'm the only person who yelled cat.
Cats? Does anyone else have a cat?
No. Black Labrador.
Oh, they have a cat. Yes, Samantha.
We have a Cavalier Spaniel.
Aw, that's so sweet. I love that y'all have pets. I don't. I never did. Well, actually, I probably had some fish. Yeah, I had some fish, but we never had pets. Ready? If you're standing, say the verse. I don't have a pet, so I'm not going to say it. Ready?
John 15:12. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. John 15:12.
All right, last one, sit. If you do know how to ride a bike, stand up. All right, awesome. Here we go. John 15:12. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. John 15:12. Very good. Have a seat. I am so excited today to tell you a story about two boys that were so excited because they were going to be having the Pine Valley Pumpkin Run where they lived. This was the biggest thing that happened every October, and they were so excited that the race was coming, and they could not wait, because if you took part in the race, you had to be kind of like really tough, because this pumpkin race was not really easy. There were going to be a lot of challenges and obstacles along the way. And Blake and Hunter were brothers. They were close in age, and they were going to be racing together. And they could not wait. It was the biggest thing in their county, and they were so excited. Not only was there going to be a race, but this was a time where there were it was kind of like a fall festival with caramel apples and kettle corn and games and all kinds of fun stuff. But the race was the biggest part of the whole event. And whoever crossed the finish line at the end of the race got a chance to win the jackpot. Inside the jackpot was $300. And whoever crossed the finish line got to share the prize. But if less people crossed the finish line, then whoever did cross got most of the money, or a bigger amount. And Blake and Hunter, they were ready to race. But they were going to do whatever it took to win, even if it meant that they would cheat, because they wanted the prize, and they didn't want anybody else to share the jackpot with them. And so there were two boys that were going to be racing with them, named Kent and Carson. And Kent and Carson were like best friends. And they were known for being boys in the race that would follow the rules. They played fair. But Blake and Hunter, they didn't care about that. They were going to do whatever it took to take home the prize. So at the race, they said to each other, "Do you think Kent and Carson will suspect anything?" And then I told you that Kent and Carson were known for following the rules. And so the brothers said to each other, "Of course they're not going to suspect anything, because we have a strategy. We're going to surprise them, and they're not even going to know that we're trying to make them lose. All we have to do is stick to our plan." Well, then the announcement came. It was time for all the contestants to line up on the starting line. So they high-fived each other and they said, "Let's do this." And they ran to the starting line, and they were getting ready to begin the race. So all the teams lined up on the starting line, and they were getting ready to race. And the announcer came on the speaker, and he said, "Okay, contestants, it is time to begin. You know what to do, but I'm still going to go over all of the rules and the obstacles that you're going to do today." And so everyone's standing there ready with their partner. And this is what the announcer said. He said, "This is an obstacle course. As you run through the pumpkin race, you will complete different obstacles with your partner while you carry a 15-pound pumpkin. Your job is to keep the pumpkin intact. If the pumpkin drops and gets crushed, you're out of the race." So all the contestants held their pumpkin tightly as the announcer continued telling the rules. He said, "First, you're going to participate in the three-legged sack race. You will run to the haystack, climb over the top to the other side, and run to the corn maze. When you get to the corn maze, your goal is to get out in record time to get out the fastest. After that, you're going to run to the creek challenge where you will have to cross the log bridge while holding your pumpkin together. After that, you will run to the slime slough where you will have to get in the mud and take your pumpkin across the mud without dropping it. If you get to the other side and your pumpkin is still whole and isn't crushed, then you will get in the wheelbarrow race. So one partner will push, the other partner will ride holding the pumpkin, and you will race to the end where the end of the race will be, okay? And so the goal is that they had to finish the race in less than 10. If they finished in less than 10 minutes and crossed the finish line, and I think the hay ride is what takes them to the finish line. Yes. Yep, they'll ride. So when they get out of the wheelbarrow, hold on. I'm getting confused. There's a lot of things they have to do. They ride the hay ride to the end, and then if they cross the finish line, then they get the prize. Okay? So the crowd went wild when the announcer said, "On your mark, get set, go!" And the crowd went wild, and Hunter had an idea. So remember, they had a plan the whole time. As they started toward the haystack, Hunter yelled, "I hope the mouse lives through this." And Hunter hollered at his brother. The boys galloped across, carrying their pumpkin, balancing it between them. Blake, the brother, grinned and was huffing and puffing as he was running, and he said, "The mouse better survive. It has a job to do." What do you think they're going to do with the mouse? Samantha? What do you think they're going to do? Remember, they're trying to make all the other contestants lose. What do you think he's going to do with the mouse? You want to see if Lauren knows? Let's see what Lauren thinks.
I think they're gonna try to catch all the mice.
Okay. Jacob, what do you think?
Is the mouse the pumpkin?
No. No, they have to hold the pumpkin the whole time. But remember at the beginning I said Blake and Hunter said that they were going to do whatever it took to make the others lose, even if it meant cheating. So what do you think they might do with the mouse, Brantley?
They might try to make it turn it into a distraction.
I think you might be right. Almost all the teams got to the first obstacle about the same time. They took off their sacks and began to climb over the haystack. Well, as they were doing this, Hunter managed to reach into his pocket where a little mouse was, and out popped that mouse and scampered across the haystack. There were some girls behind them racing, and when they saw the mouse, they started screaming, and they dropped their pumpkin, and their pumpkin was crushed by the feet of the contestants behind them. The girls were out of the race. Blake and Hunter laughed and laughed as they climbed over the haystack. They said 1 team down, many more to go. They are. Are they treating others like Jesus? They're not really following John 15:12, are they? Listen. So 1 team down, 5 to go. Hunter yelled into his brother's ears, cha-ching. Why would they say cha-ching? Because the money, they've got that money in mind. Listen, they safely got to the bottom of the haystack, and the boys sprinted fast ahead to the corn maze. Okay, let's focus on getting out fast, Hunter said. But if anybody gets in our way, you know what to do. So the boys took off. They got to the corn maze. They came around a corner, and there was a dead end. No, go the other way, Blake shouted to his brother. As they came around, another team was in view. Hey, here, Ken Carson, come this way. Hurry, come quick. The boys pressed up against the side of the corn maze, and as the other team came around the corner, Hunter stuck out his right foot. He said, "Hope they have a nice trip," Hunter told Blake as they laughed. So now the boys, they were getting a little behind because they got to a dead end. And so here they see the other contestants coming, and they want to trip them and make them fall. But he spoke too fast. "Nice try," said Carson, as he and Kent turned around and ran away. "We saw your foot." So it didn't work. He shouldn't have yelled out, should he? He shouldn't have yelled out for them to come. And that they should have a nice trip, because he spoke too soon and they heard him and saw him and it didn't work. But Blake and Hunter were running off again. They shoved past any team that they could. Creek Challenge. When they got there, Blake grinned. "Hey, Hunter," he said with a smile, "look at that." 2 boys were climbing out of the creek, and they looked very upset. They had fallen off the bridge, and their pumpkin, too, was crushed. They were out of the race. "We don't have to worry about them anymore." And then Hunter said, "No, but let's make sure that the others coming behind us don't have a chance." And so they began to climb on the log that was over, I think it was over mud is what it was over. Yeah. So they were climbing. They had been practicing squatting down and like sliding because they knew this was one of the challenges. So when they got to the middle, Hunter reached in his pocket and he pulled out some butter. What's he going to do with the butter? You can't really see it there, but you can see it in mine. Brett? He's going to make it slippery. He smeared it behind him as they moved across so that the next team that would come behind them would try and cross and would slip and fall off easier. "Good job," Blake said. "That should definitely slow somebody down." Yes, yes.
Maybe it's going to be sticky and then they won't try to get out of the peanut butter because they have to stay there.
The butter. Maybe it'd be sticky, but I think if I stepped on some butter, I'd probably slip and fall off. And someone over here keeps saying, "That's mean." And that's the point. They're not treating others with God's love. They're not loving others as God has commanded them to.
Yeah, but why doesn't, if Kent and Carson, well, not those two.
Yeah, the ones that follow the rules.
Yeah, the ones that follow the rules. If they knew that, why didn't they yell out, "Those two are cheating"?
Well,
and then they would have been this way.
Well, I think because they're focused on the race, that they're and they may not know about the other stuff they've tried to do yet. I don't know how close they are in the race. Actually, I think they're coming up behind him. Let's see. So now it's time to get down and dirty, snickered Hunter as he stepped into the slimy mud. He plopped down on his hands and knees. Blake hopped onto his back with their pumpkin held high and yelled, "Ride 'em, cowboy!" Look at them. They're riding across the mud. Yeehaw, said Hunter with a laugh as he sloshed forward in the mud. I wouldn't laugh just yet. Look, said Blake. Kent and Carson were right behind them, and they were coming fast. Oh, hello, guys. It looks like you need a mud bath. And so Blake and Hunter scooped some mud, and they threw it right at the boys that were coming behind them. Splat! The mud landed in Kent's thick red hair. But both teams were neck and neck in the race as they got to the end, where the hay wagon was waiting. So the hay ride will take them to the wheelbarrow race. So giddy up, cried Hunter as he and Blake leaped into the wagon and the tractor driver jerked it forward. The boys held their pumpkin tightly as they struggled to hold it as they bounced over the rough bumps. Soon the hay wagon rumbled to a stop. The boys jumped off with their pumpkin and charged toward the wheelbarrows lined up ahead. Blake climbed in to their team's wheelbarrow with the pumpkin, and Hunter was going to be the one to push. They hadn't made it very far when Blake yelled, "Faster! Faster! They're coming! Let's finish the race first!" Hunter was pushing as hard as he could, but as he was rushing to push faster, he lost control of the wheelbarrow. It wobbled one way and then the other, and Blake held on inside for dear life. "Ouch!" yelled Hunter as he twisted his ankle. So Hunter, he falls and hurts his ankle. Blake is riding inside and falls out of it. The wheelbarrow knocks him in the head. Now both of the boys are hurt. And a bump starts to form on the top of Blake's head where the wheelbarrow hit him just because it had tumbled and or because Hunter had hurt his ankle. Hunter hopped around on one foot grunting because of his ankle. Blake moaned and groaned in the dirt, holding the back of his head where a bump was forming. Meanwhile, two girls were coming by them with their wheelbarrow. One girl even started laughing at them. Will Hunter and Blake be able to finish the race?
No.
Are they going to be found out that they were cheating?
Probably.
You have to come back next Sunday to hear the rest of the story. And Miss Charlene's going to tell us the next part. So if you want to find out what happens to Blake and Hunter, you're going to have to come back next Sunday to find out.